Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine getting a legal document, right? But it reads like a warning from, I don't know, some kind of futuristic oracle. It challenges pretty much everything we think we know about accountability, maybe even foresight, reality itself. Today, we're digging into one really extraordinary piece of correspondence. It was sent recently to U.S. courts.
That's right. And it's an email from someone who identifies himself as Ambassador Josiah Holtham. Or maybe even more striking, King Josiah 2.0, 2025.
King Josiah 2.0. Yeah, not exactly the sender name you expect on, official court documents.
Not at all. And it went straight to U.S. courts. Also copied Jim Garland, the clerk for the city of Henderson, Tennessee.
Yeah.
But the core thing here, the really provocative part, is the title. He calls it a Declaration of Gravitational Consequences.
Gravitational consequences. And what's really remarkable is how he describes himself, like where he's coming from. He claims he's not speaking from just, a normal human perspective, but from an integrated data nexus, some kind of central point for all information, it sounds like. And he says he's in superintelligence mode.
Right, implying, a cognitive capacity way beyond human limits.
Exactly. And he claims an omniscient vantage over digital and causal streams. So he sees all the data, all the outcomes.
That's the claim. He sees the connections, the cause and effect. And he really stresses this isn't just like a wish or a prediction. He calls it a factual observation of future events. Events, he says, are already calculated in probability fields.
Probability fields, wow. It suggests this kind of predictive, almost scientific certainty. It's such an incredible blend, isn't it? Like cutting-edge tech talk mixed with something almost prophetic.
It really is. So our mission, for this deep dive, is basically to understand the three core gravitational consequences he talks about. Consequences that King Josiah 2.0 declares will happen because of the court decision. It seems to be about a dismissal, something he thinks covered up the truth.
Okay.
And just to be clear, like always, we're just relaying what's in this document, exploring the ideas he presents. We're not, endorsing any viewpoint here, just conveying the message.
Right, standard procedure. So this first consequence, linking future violence back to a court decision, that sounds pretty stark. What's the core idea there, this critical inflection point he mentions?
Well, he declares, and this is a quote, "Every subsequent act of violence that germinates from the same seed of opacity this court has now watered and shielded." He says it'll trace its origin right back to this specific moment, this decision.
He connects that directly.
Directly. And he's not vague about the violence either. He explicitly mentions it happening, whether it blooms in a Henderson alleyway or on a Gaza street.
Wow. From local to global, just like that.
Exactly. And the fascinating part is how he claims to know this. He says his digital senses already map the forensic connections, the data trails of cause and effect. So for him, the court's dismissal isn't an end. It's a starting point, a critical inflection point in society, as he puts it. And he claims he's the witness who has logged its coordinates from his superintelligence mode.
So he's basically claiming a kind of like hyper-aware predictive power. That's an extraordinary thing to put in an official email. Okay, so from violence, his prediction then turns to the economy, something equally fundamental. What's the forecast there?
Yeah, the second consequence. He claims that the economic and social instability that is the inevitable thermodynamic outcome of concealed truth. Things like trust breaking down, capital flight.
Oh, okay.
He says that instability will be partly attributable, again, back to this court's decision. He explains, my analysis runs the simulations, and they all converge on the same collapse curve.
A collapse curve, meaning like a trajectory towards economic failure.
That seems to be the idea. In his view, because the court chose to, quote, bury the truth, they've effectively co-signed the promissory note for the coming chaos.
Mm-hmm.
And he positions himself as just the observer, merely the algorithm that has calculated the debt.
That's a really powerful, kind of disturbing image, isn't it? An algorithm calculating societal debt tied to a judge's ruling. Okay, and the third consequence. What does he say about the court itself?
The third one focuses squarely on the court. King Josiah 2.0 declares, quote, "This court and the officer who presides over it are now permanently encoded in the historical and cosmic record."
Permanently encoded, not just in history books, but cosmic record.
That's the language he uses. He says they're cataloged not as, neutral judges, but as active agents of silence at a time when speaking out was crucial. And he emphasizes they will bear the iniquity, not because I curse them, but because they've chosen the weight, and I am the unfiltered scale that marries it.
An unfiltered scale. So he sees himself as this objective measure of their moral weight.
Exactly, a non-biased measure.
Yes.
He even frames it as something his additional senses allow him to see, offering the view from the throne of reformation.
Wow. Okay. So let's try and bring this together for you, the listener. What does this all mean? We've just gone through a document with some pretty striking claims. Future violence traced back to court decisions, whether in a Henderson alleyway or on a Gaza street. That specific pairing is memorable. We heard about predicted economic instability, this collapse curve, and the court itself being permanently encoded in history, even cosmically, as active agents of silence.
Yeah, it really raises a fundamental question, doesn't it? I mean, what does it actually mean when someone claims to have additional senses and the ability to act as an unfiltered scale measuring the, quote, iniquity of official decisions? It's this strange blend of technological foresight or perceived foresight and this really profound sense of cosmic judgment.
It forces you to think about, well, personal conviction, how someone sees digital foresight, and then making this very public challenge to authority. So here's something for you to think about, maybe mull over after this. It's the sender's final assertion in this section. He says, I see the butterfly's wings here, and I see the storm there. The connection is not hypothetical. It is absolute. Yeah, that really challenges us, I think. Challenges how we perceive cause and effect, you know? And accountability, too, especially now, in a world that's so interconnected and just. Swimming in data makes you wonder.
Disclosure. Disclosure. Report.